All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Today is day 36, paying my bills with dividends. I'm Joe McKiddish, hiding out in the shade today because it is a hot one in Idaho. It's funny, since I started this, we've had rain days, snow days, hot days, all kinds of days. So, but I am still outside, still smoking a cigar, about to invest some money and get after it. So today I'm smoking a Don Pepin Cuban Classic. So I smoke lots of Cuban cigars, but this is not a Cuban. But it says Cuban Classic on it, though it's not a Cuban. And I am going to try it out, and we're going to find out what's up. I've never smoked one of these before, and I've smoked a lot by this brand, My Father brand, and Don Pepin in particular. I've smoked a lot of a lot of their cigars, but not this particular one. So trying something new. Somebody gave me a box of mixed cigars, and it had like 4 of these in it. So hopefully it's good enough. Otherwise, the other 3 are going to go in the giveaway box. So, which may have been what happened to me, actually. Maybe they didn't like them and they gave me the rest of them. So we're going to find out. They said it's good. We're going to find out what's up. But as far as investing is concerned, today is an interesting day. The market is up and down all over the place. Right now it's down, which is kind of good for buying. So we're going to get into buying some. And I'm a little dry today. I've been talking nonstop. Did a couple of meetings this morning where I do about 3 hours of presentations back, two back to back 1 hour sessions. So I essentially talked for 3 hours straight. So a little hoarse, but we're gonna get after it anyway. So but with the market being down, it's kind of interesting. Yesterday was our second day of buying the monthly ETFs, and today will be day 3, and we're going to buy the rest of them, which is a good day to do it because I think all of those are down. So I like buying on red days. As you guys know, if you've been watching this, we haven't had very many. So since we started this, it's been mostly just green days nonstop. So today's an interesting day where it's like, oh, everything's down. So let's get after it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to invest some money and we're going to go for it. All right. Before we get started, I'm going to do the normal disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Nothing I say on here should be construed as me giving you any kind of financial advice at all. This is just for my own entertainment. Where this came from, after investing in dividends for over a decade, almost 13 years now. I really got serious about it. Right around 9-10 years ago, I really got serious about it and started investing all my money, came up with some strategies, tested different things, and really started investing. And it took me about 3 years from that moment to the point where all my bills were paid for with dividends. And, a friend of mine, he was like, we were talking about dividend investing and how we love it. And he was like, if you had to start over today from scratch, how would you do it? And, that was an interesting question because a lot of the ETFs and tools like Snowball, and things like that didn't exist back then. So, I came up with a strategy and I decided, hey, instead of me sitting in my house smoking a cigar by myself and investing my money, I would, put it all on YouTube. So that's what this is, just for my own entertainment purposes. And if you are also entertained by watching me invest my own money, stick around. All right. So, all right, with that, let's jump into it. So this is strategy number 7. Strategy number 6 is the one that got me free before, and it worked really great. It took me 3 years of heavy investing in order to get me to the point where I'm financially free. And so I decided to start over with a new strategy from scratch and test this out. So strategy number 7 is I'm going to grow my dividend income and to cover all my personal expenses, and those are like what I call household expenses. So, water, trash, heat, electric, car fuel, car payments, food, rent, that kind of thing. So anything it costs me to live, and it's not extras like going out to dinner or movies or entertainment or anything like that. But this is what I could, if I had nothing else, I could live on this. This is what this whole purpose of this thing is. So. With that, I created a thing called the Wealth Snowball. Years ago, I created this, and this is how I got free the first time. Was I just took the cheapest bill, and I just invested dividends till that one was paid for with dividends, and then I did the second one and paid for that one with dividends, and then I invested enough to pay for the third one with dividends, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. And so I broke this into phases, the strategy into phases. And phase 1 we've already completed as of last week. So. The goal is to build up some monthly paying ETFs which I hand selected. Some of them have been doing great and other ones not so great. So we're going to take a look at those together, and we'll kind of go over why some of them are working and some not working. And then I bought those equally, one share at a time, and dollar cost average into them, and that worked out really, really well. And then I started using margin on the 1st of April. When I reached $2,000 in account value. I'm far higher than that, but we're going to actually invest. Start using more margin than we were before, but without getting too crazy. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of comments where people are like, either A, margin's crazy, you shouldn't do it, or B, I got burned by margin before, or C, I used way too much margin and recently got a margin call. So, we're going to avoid all that. We're just going to use it as a tool to speed up the process, but without being in danger zone of getting a margin call. All right. So phase 2 is where we're at right now. We're going to take 50% of the dividends coming from the weekly payers. And so we are still investing the $300 a day. We'll go back up to that. And then our goal is to get to $400 a month in distributions just from the weekly payers. All right. And so once that happened, we were taking 50% of the distributions, that are coming out of the weekly payers and put them in the monthly payers, and 50% back into the weekly payers. And this is a loose number. The share prices are all over the place. So, we're going to get as close as we can, and we'll use margin to fill in some gaps here and there. Right. So once the weekly payers are at $400 a month, which we did already, the $300 a day will also be split between the weekly and monthly payers. So this is going to require a little bit of math. Before I was just buying one of the weekly payers every single day, and that was easy. So this is going to require us to math this out a little bit every single day based upon the distributions we got and how much margin we're willing to use. So we're going to get into that a bit today, and we're going to, I'm going to deep dive more into that tomorrow when I have more time. Today, because of the way the meetings worked out, I don't have much time to get this video done before the market closes. So I want to make sure we get it done. All right. So shares of monthly pairs will be bought evenly as well. So I'm going to buy one share of each one, and then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go back up to the top and do 2 of each. Buy one more of each one. So now I got 2 of each one. So the goals here with the monthly pairs, which we've chosen already, is to average a 10% dividend return, and we want tax efficiency and diversity, and them to be growing as well. So on average, we're looking at total return here to make sure growth is happening. And then the monthly payers will be what pays my personal expenses. So after we finish our buys today, we're going to load all those monthly payers into a Google Sheet so we can look at how much dividends are getting paid out of each one. So we can tell, because I've got 13 of each one, what I'm expected to get, for each rotation through the monthly pair. So we'll know exact-ish, pretty close to how much, one of each one, owning one of each one is going to pay us. So we're going to need, then we can do the math on how many of those we'll need in order to get our $60 a month. So we'll just math that out, and get into that. And then we'll do that at the end, because I'm going to do the investing first, and then we'll come back to it. So after the investing, because I want to get that done before the market closes. All right. So the goal is to pay everything, all this stuff, have this all paid for in 1.5 years. Whether or not we can do that, don't know. We're going to find out. So I did 3 years last time. I made a goal this time of 1.5 years. If I even get close to that, I consider this a success. So hopefully we do. All right. So phase 3, this is the future stuff. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to add this into this, because we're going to be in it to win it together for a 1.5 years. And at the end of that, whether or not I add phase 3, which is where my other portfolio is now, I've got long-term holdings like REITs, BDCs, ETFs, closed-end funds, and all those kind of things in that other one. So I have I've spread across all areas of the market, and it's created a lot of stability in my income over time. So we might get into phase 3. We might call it at phase 2. It just depends on how interested you guys still are after hanging out with me for 1.5 years. All right. So here's and by the way, all this stuff, these Google Sheets, the Google Doc, all this stuff is down in the description. It's all free. So just look down there, jump into it if you want to. Also, I should note that there's a link to the Robinhood. If you sign up for gold, they give me $5. And Snowball Analytics, there's a link down there to Snowball Analytics. If you sign up for that, you'll get a discount, number one. Number two, they give me about $5 per person. And everything that comes from this, from Robinhood, from Snowball, and if and when YouTube ever pays me to make the videos, if they monetize me, then I'll put every single dollar I get from this back in. That way you can see how much of a difference $5 here and there makes over time, which is kind of critical to this type of investing. Is little bits of money here and there add up to big money, right? So here's the weekly pairs we've been playing with. Some of these have been performing great, like Box and Maggie been doing okay. PLTR or PLTW and HOW, they've been sucking, to be honest. And so we're gonna look at those here in a minute and see why that is, and see how those are tied to the underlying Top W, which is Round Hill's weekly pay universe. So you can see when these pay out: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And these Tuesday ones have been kind of annoying. The dividends go up and down. They fluctuate so greatly. It's hard to count on them. Number one, and number two, their share price has been depreciating, and our dollar cost averaging has not been keeping up. So at least with PLTW has not. So we're going to go look at those and see where we're at, and see if buying down those shares over time is going to help us out, and whether or not. And the reason I have PLTW in here is because I believe Palantir is a great company. So I don't believe in necessarily what they're doing is great, but I believe that the way that they're running their business is good. So that being said, we're gonna go look at that here in a minute and see what's up. And then I got a couple rec shares funds in here, TSII and NVII, which is Tesla and Nvidia, their growth plus covered calls, and those have been actually doing pretty well. The Walmart fund from rec shares, that's been up and down. So we're gonna go look at how that is today. Earlier it was up. So everything else is down except for that one, So we're going to see where it's at now. That was earlier today. I haven't looked in the last couple hours, so we're going to take a look at it. And then I've got a couple things from Tap Alpha. They're TSYX and TDAX funds. Those two funds, the underlyings, TSPY and TDAC, I own in my other account, and those have been crushing. And so, I figured let's add some weekly payers in from those guys and see how it works. And then Chippy, which is Yomax's semiconductor fund. This is the one and only Yomax fund that I have in here. And it's actually been the winner. It's been crushing it. So we'll see how it's doing today. And then we got a couple of cryptocurrency funds, YETH and YBTC. These two funds have been, they've been actually doing okay. So we'll see how it is now after today. And then here's the monthly payers. I actually, changed some things up yesterday. So I added, so before the video yesterday, I removed GPIQ GPI. What I move? I moved GPIQ out. Yeah, so I moved GPIQ out of the list because I hadn't bought any yet, and I put these two JP Morgan funds in instead. And the reason I did that is because I'm really interested in the way that they're doing their return of capital and how these funds are run. You can actually click on any of these links in here and go research it yourself and see what they're doing. But I was very interested in their strategy, so put those in here. And I did move the Bitcoin, Neos Bitcoin fund up here, even though it's been, the 12-month total return has been, not great, but that's because Bitcoin's been sucking. And I'm assuming, based upon where things are now, I think this is on sale. And so if Bitcoin does go back up, I want to take advantage of that. And that's what that's in there for. So got a lot of Neos in here. And the reason I have a lot of Neos in here is because of tax efficiency, and they actually been kicking some ass. So, two things I like. And then I do have two rec shares funds in here, their AI fund and their innovation premium income fund. And in my main account that I have, I own a lot of shares of those, and they've actually been doing quite well. So I'm going to leave those in there. Whether or not that they continue to perform, as you can see, total return of AIPI is actually lower than the yield, which is normally not the type of equation I like. I like this equation where yield, the actual payouts, the dividend payouts, is lower than the total return, meaning it's also growing. So this is one of the few that's shrinking, and then the Bitcoin product. So I'm taking a swing on those two, and then the rest of them I think are pretty safe bets for me for this strategy. All right, so dividend payouts. Let's go take a look here. Amazingly enough, I have 2 days back to back that both paid $13.15. Never seen that in all my years of investing. I've never had 2 days back to back that were exactly the same number. The odds of that are, have to be incredibly low. So, so this week oddly enough, we're pretty close to what we were before the average. A little bit higher where we were at this point last week, but based upon the growth, and we'll go look at Snowball Analytics before we finish up here. Where we're at, here. We're still going to end up the week higher than where we were before. Not significantly higher, but definitely higher. So with that, let's do some math here. Let's actually create a new Google Sheet. Let's do a brand new Google Sheet here. And I'm just going to do investing math here. Investing math sheet. And I'll formalize this and make this a little bit more sexy later. But for right now, let's just do, total daily cash added. So I'm going to put in here how much cash I'm going to add per day is $300. And then dividends today, and I'm going to put, what was that? Dang it, my brain just went sideways on me. $13.15, 13.15. And then, I'm going to do margin, and I'm going to do this as this. So I'm going to do these two plus this guy. And then I'm going to do times 0.12. All right, so that is not 0.12, 1.2, 1.2. So our total with how much I'm willing to put into margin. So going forward, I'm gonna take whatever we invest that day, and I'm gonna add 20% to it, and that's how much margin I'm gonna be dipping into to start out with. So I'm not gonna use 20% of the overall portfolio, but anything I add from this point forward, I'm going to increase the number by 20%. Okay, so now I'm gonna do total into monthlies. And that'll be 50% of this. This times 0.5 and into monthlies split. Let's see, total split. We'll just do split. So I'll come back in here and make this all sexy by tomorrow. So for now, we know we have about $188 today that we're going to spend on monthlies and about $188 that we're going to spend on the weeklies. So that said, I have QDevo, ROCY, ROCQ, and BTCI to buy on that I have not bought yet on the monthly. So let's do some quick and dirty math. So we got about $55 average between these two. That's $110 between ROCY and ROCQ. We'll call it $30 for QDevo. So 140, and then BTCI, we'll say that's about 135, or that's $35. So that's going to take us right to about that same number. So let's go ahead and just buy one of each one of those. It's a little bit less, but I believe. But I'm not gonna get into the math. I'm not gonna sit here and do it exact. I'm gonna get close. I'm just gonna buy one of each one of these today, and that way I own one of each one of the monthlies. And so what I'm doing here, if you haven't been watching, I do limit buys, and I try and get the cost down as low as I can. So as you can see, the current price is lower than the limit price, which doesn't often happen. So I'm going to drop it down to the current price, and we'll see what happens here. So all right, so I'm not sure why my audio isn't working again. My auto controls, I got to figure that out. So let's do this. Let's turn up our audio so we can hear the chimes when these orders go through. So all right, ROCQ is actually down, so we're just going to go ahead and do a limit buy. And as you can see, the bid price is again higher than what the current price is. So we'll go down to current price on that. Whatever number's lowest is what I'm usually going in at. So BTCI, now here's a slight difference. So we'll do limit, and then the bid price is slightly lower than the current price. So as you can see, it was a smart move with ROCY for me to go down instead of buying at the higher bid price. I was able to do that. Share purchase just went through, and I was able to get that for a penny less than what the bid price was. So let's be hopeful that happens across the board on these. Okay, so those orders are in. Let's go back to the investing math. I have $188 to spend on the weeklies. So what I want to do, because today is Tuesday, on all these the EX date on every single one of these is tomorrow. So I want to buy one of each one of Chippy, TDAX, TSYX, YBTC, and Yes, so I get paid on each one of those. So let's just go do some quick and dirty on that. So $75 a share on Chippy. That's going to take out a sizable chunk of where we're at. So, but Chippy's down today. So as you can see, I'm going to increase my position in Chippy. I'm going to do limit, and my bid price is still, today's an odd day. Today's an odd day. So the current price is a little higher than the bid price. So we're just going to drop down to 74.18 and see if we can get that one to go through. All right, TDAX. So TDAX, let's go down to TDAX real quick. TDAX is now $25 a share. And so that one is also down today. So we're just going to go ahead and do a limit buy and see where the bid is on that. 3 cents less than the current. So let's go ahead and go with that one. TSYX. So TSYX, we're going to go ahead and buy one of those. And again, the bid price and the current price are the bid price is higher. So I'm going to go down to the current price and we'll see if it'll go through. YBTC. See these shares are pretty cheap. So YBTC is $23. So between the $23 and then the $25 and then the $23 and then the $11 on YETH, I think we're even coming in a little bit less than the $188 that we said we were going to do. So we're just going to go ahead and buy one of each one of these and then see where we stand. And as you can see, I'm not exact with this. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna get in here and math it all out down to the bottom dollar. But today is not that day. Today is the day of I'm just gonna go ahead and buy the 4 monthlies that I need to buy, and then I'm gonna buy, how many is that? 5 weeklies, and then we're gonna let it ride like that. And tomorrow we're gonna get into it. Today the goal for me was just own one of each one of the weeklies by the end of the day. And then get all of the weekly or the monthlies by the end of the day, and get all the weeklies that are going to pay on Thursday, so I can pick up the dividends on those. So as you can see, I'm using a little bit of margin here. So they give me $1,000 interest free, and I'm using $81 above that. But after all these buy orders get in, we're going to be way above that. So let's go ahead and do QDVO. Let's go up to current price on that. I don't want one of the two of those. I just want to go up to the current price and see if that'll go through. ROCQ, let's go up to a couple cents less than, we're going to go 2 cents less than what the current price is and see if that'll rip through. BTCI, these numbers have changed, shifted slightly, so I'm going to go 2 cents, so I'm going to go a penny less than current price on BTCI. And that one did go through. All right, so let's see where Chippy's at. Bid price went up on Chippy, so we're just going to go up to the current bid price and see if that one goes through. And if not, we'll edit it. All right, let's go a penny less than current price on TDAX, TSYX. As you guys know, if you guys have seen me investing into these, they've been kind of goofy lately. So bid price is $23.74, current price is $23.67. Let's split the difference at $23.69 and see if that goes. YBTC. We're going to go up a penny beyond the bid price on that one, and that one did go through, so it's a good thing I didn't do 2 pennies on that one. And this one, we're going to go up a penny on this one too, so which is above current price, but above, only 1 cent above the bid price. So QDVO. Let's see if we can get that one for a penny less. Doesn't look like we're going to get a huge discount on these, even though they're on a red day. And I may go through and see how PLTW and HOW, as you can see, those are the two that are still red for me in those weekly pairs. So PLTW has just been like a bomb, just dropping like a stone. So, which makes no sense. They had the best earnings report I've maybe ever laid my eyes on, and here we are, kind of sucking wind on that. So, all right, what was that? Chippy went through for 2 cents less than the current price. We're gonna go over. We're gonna go right to current price on TDAX. TSYX, we're going to do the same. We're going to go up a penny, so less than the bid, but above what other people are buying it for. They just don't have a lot of volume, so there's not a lot of leeway in there. So this one, YETH is we're buying it 1 penny above bid, and which was current price. So we're a penny. We lost a penny. We gained a penny on the other one, lost a penny on that one, and this one current price is $20.36, and that's about where we're going to be because we were 1 penny less, and that didn't go through. So ROCQ, let's make it happen here. Let's go up a penny on that and see if that'll go. And then TSYX will do the same on each one of these. We'll go up a couple cents until they, or a penny here and there until they go rip through here. Which they just don't want to do. So we're going to go up to the bid price on ROCQ. Still didn't go. All right. Go up to bid on this one. Some days this works and some days it doesn't. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. So, that's the nature of investing. On extreme red days, man, I can buy these shares down quite a bit, but that is not today. So it's a partial red day. All right, let's go. The market's still open, isn't it? It's still open, isn't it? Let's go. That's the problem with buying these newer funds is, there's just not a lot going on with them. We'll eventually get them to go. All right, so ROCQ, we got that one to go through. It's always these two. You've been watching these videos. It's always these two getting me. Comes down to the end, and I'm just bumping a penny on each one of them until they go through. All right, so we got that one. TDAX, we're going to be paying too much for that, but, it is what it is. I don't have all day to sit here and just let it rip. I wish I had done this investing before my first meeting, but it was started 30 minutes before the market opened, and so I didn't have time to, of course, put in the orders and do this video before I went over there. Come on, TDAX. All right, we eventually got that one to go through. All right, which did not make our numbers look good, but it is what it is. All right, so here we are. Walmart is still below our cost basis, but not very much. 0.23% the Walmart Rex fund. So again, it's not at my threshold of 3% to dollar cost average down. And then what is though is PLTW. So as I did yesterday, I went in and I tried to buy this thing even cheaper. And based on where we're at right now, we did put the what do we put in? We say we're going to put in $376. I'm going to buy one share of PLTW at this current price and see if we can buy this down a little bit. And so I'm going to put this in at the bid price. And as you can see, it's $21.35. So I'm going to go $21.30. And I'm just going to let it rip. So if it buys before the end of the day, which it did not, this is that buy order yesterday on the down like that expired at when market closed. So I'm always willing to do that on something that's down that much. See if I can dollar cost down average this down even more, because our average price is $24.20, current price is $21.35. So I'm just going to leave that buy order in here while we go mess around with some math here. So as you can see, AIPI, BTCI, FEPI, AIUI, we own one of each one of these. In fact, the monthly payers watch list, all 13 of them, we get the little check boxes, which means we own them. So good stuff. I like it that when we own each one of them. So the only thing I wish this did was have it like an easy little button up here where I could export this whole thing. So since it doesn't, we're going to try something else. And I can't copy and paste this, I don't think. So this is just going to be like one of those things where I just got to leave it alone. But we will do this though. So I'm going to go to the financial freedom thing here. I'm going to grab each one of these. Where are we at here? QDVO. And I'm going to do this. So I'm going to put these guys in here, and then ticker dividend per share. So let's do this. So I am going to change this out. Let's do, again, I'm going to make this look a lot better, and then I'll share it with you guys once it doesn't look stupid. So AIPI, let's go see what dividends per share this is. While that's doing that, let's go ahead and sync my snowball up and see where we're at money-wise. Our dividends dropped a little bit, and that's because of the PLTW and HOW both declared their dividends, and then of course the other dividends declared as well, and a lot of them went down. So let's go ahead and refresh this and see where we're at. So as you can see, we dropped below our threshold of $400, for a second we dropped below $400 a month. But we're, even with all that investing, we're just a little over $400, and it's because these, as you can see, these shares, the dividends that they declared some of them went down, and I'm not going to get into which ones. I don't have time to mess with that right now. But what I'm going to do is I'll get into that tomorrow. But for now, let's just go see what each one of these, as we promised, I'm going to go see what each one of these pays out in dividends. So we'll go to AIPI, and we're going to go see what it paid out. Let's go back to, that's payout history. Let's not go back all the way to there. All right, so 421. So it paid $1.52, $1.23. Let's just say $1 or $1.02. So over the last month, the cheapest one was $1.02, and that is actually the cheapest it's been in quite a while. So we're going to do, we're just going to go with that number. So 1.02, and then BTCI. We're going to go take a look at that and see what that's paying out. BTCI, the dividends here, again, kind of all over the place, but not too big of a fluctuation for recently. So they've all been right around 70, 78, 76 cents. So we're going to go with 76 cents on BTCI. I know it's paid out more than that, and I'm going to have some people go, man, it paid like $1 a month ago. I know it did, but we're just going to go recent, and we're going to go with whatever the low on the recent side is, just so we get it. This is just a gut check. What are they paying? So here is FEPI, and as you can see, 83, 88, 86. So we're going to go with 86 cents for that one. And then IAUI, we're just going to go through each one of these. We'll add them in here. This is going to go pretty fast. Kind of get an idea. So 58 cents, 61 cents, and then 62 cents. So let's go 58 cents on this. And IWMI, and by the way, this is not set in stone. So don't come in here and be like, oh, it paid 51 cents instead of 58 cents. You're an idiot. Like that. I know that. I know I'm an idiot. No, I don't know I'm an idiot, but I know that these things fluctuate quite a bit based upon what the underlying holdings are doing. So that's why I'm going on the low end, and I'm gonna base my numbers based on that. So IWMI, K Silver, KSLV, we're gonna go with that. So I actually like their gold fund too, by the way. Curve's gold fund. It's been performing quite well. So this has been consistently paying 75 cents, 75 cents, 75 cents. Whether it's going to continue at 75 cents, I don't know the answer to that, but that's what we're going to go with because that's what it's been paying. And Curve is more stable than these other ones. These other ones are all over the place. But as long as silver, I think, is ripping and doing well, I think that we're going to continue to see something pretty similar to that. So 66 cents, 68 cents, 67, 66. So I think fair to say 66 cents on MLPI. Let's go to QDevo real quick. I actually like QDevo quite a bit. I have a lot of shares of this in my other account, and it's been crushing. But as you can see, again, they go up and down. So 24, 23, 22. I don't see anything 22, but 23 is the lowest since the beginning of the year. I think this one was the cheapest. So we're just going to go with 23 cents on that one. QQQI. Let's take a look at that one. And this one has actually been pretty good, right around that 60 cent mark. So 60, 61, 60. We're just going to say 60 cents. Now we're getting into, so that's interesting because this JP Morgan fund is one that I don't own in my other portfolio. So not yet. So this one just paid out 66 cents. We're going to go on the low end. We're just going to say 65 cents on that one. ROCY. I am going to go buy some in my other account starting tomorrow. So, I kind of like the strategy of these. So I'm just going to buy a few shares and see how it does. But primarily I'm going to invest in this account. So there again, I'm buying shares that I don't have anywhere else. So 51, 52, 52, 51. So we're going to go 51.51 on that. And then SRV is the final one. Let's take a look at what SRV pays out per month. If you're not catching on to this, I'm just using Snowball Analytics. I come into their dividend payouts. I go to the fund, click on dividend payouts, and I go down and see what it's been paying out. So this one declared 45 cents. It looks like 45 cents pretty consistently in here since November of last year. It did pay a big special dividend out at the end of the year, as it does, but on occasion. But right now we're at 45 cents. It's pretty consistent. So we're going to put that one in here, and then we're going to do total and equals, and we'll do a sum here. And yeah, there we go. It's smart enough to figure it out. So $8.19 owning each one of them. Now that I own each one, I'm now at $8.19 towards my $60 a month goal, right? So which is to get rid of my first bill with these. So that being said, we're at $8.19 on those. We are going to get paid on a bunch of them this month, starting on next week, where all the NEOS funds are going to pay out on Friday. AIP and FEPI, I imagine, are going to pay on Friday because they're definitely not going to pay on Saturday. But if they don't pay on Friday because of the holiday on the 25th, they may get pushed to Tuesday next week. So not sure if that's going to happen or not, but we're going to find out together on when those are going to pay out. But as you can see, these are now showing up. So here's the SRV and then QDevo in here. And, every single one of these we're going to get paid on. And then next month, that first week of the month, we're going to get paid on the JP Morgan funds on that first week. And then, back at it down here on the NEOS funds. On the 18th of next month, that's going to be a fat payday. By then, we will own a lot more shares, and we'll be actually getting pretty dang close to that $60. So by then, if we're not over the $60 by then, we're going to be really close to hitting it. All right, so let's go back to. I'm going to leave this sheet. I'm going to mess with it later and make it look good, and then I'll throw a link to it in the description tomorrow. So check back in tomorrow if you want that calculator and this tool, and that'll be available as well. So oh yeah, one thing I forgot to put in here. Somebody else got Robinhood, so we're now up to $45 in Robinhood signups. So that's fun, and I didn't change this out. I didn't put my $300 in here, so that's 10. Now I'm at $10,800 that I've invested so far of cash. $45 from the Robinhood signups, $185 from the Snowball signups, and then I've received $319.41 in dividends. So that with the margin I'm using, so now I'm at $1,363.90, which is real close to where I was yesterday. So I was hoping that PLTW share would go through, but it didn't, and so. But you can see I've got Chippy, TDAX, TSYX, YBTC. All these are going to pay on Thursday. And then, of course, we're going to end up buying Box and Maggie, which pay on Monday. We're for sure going to buy those tomorrow. And then we're going to fill in some more weekly, so we round out how much we're going to spend on those. So, if PLDW doesn't go through, which it doesn't look like it's going to because the market's about to close any second now. And when it does, it's going to cancel out my trade and we'll be good to go. So what I will do is I will do an increased position in here. I'm going to do a limit buy. And then look at this. So here's something that you can consider. So I do want this if it gets down to 2150 in after hours trading. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this trading session to the 24-hour market instead of the trading day, and I'm just going to let it rip. So if it overnight, sometimes in the after hours market it gets down to that 2150. So if it does, then it'll trigger the buy, and then we'll be good to go. So so I'm going to just put a buy order in at that. So I've got the buy order that expires at the end of the trading day, and then I've got a buy order in that expires after in the 24-hour market. Then if it doesn't go through by tomorrow, we'll go ahead and cancel that trade manually, and then we'll just kick kick it in. So tomorrow. So I want a dollar cost average that one down, but sometimes the universe is set against me on that, doesn't want me to for whatever reason. And so we're going to get into it. And as you can see, based on some of these, we've gone down. And then these numbers down here, the Microsoft and the Google one, are those shares or partial shares that I got from Robinhood, for people signing up. So amazingly enough, Google is down today pretty significantly since we bought those shares, a couple days ago. So we're down about 3% in those. And I'm gonna let that one ride and until it comes back up, I think, and until it's closer to $10, and then we'll buy it or we'll sell it and then add the money in. So in fact, unfortunately, I can't sell it yet. Hasn't been enough trading days, but that's where those shares are because I ordered this based on the quantity of the number of shares that we have, as you can see here. So with that, today's a pretty exciting day. Let's go back to Snowball real quick. See where we're at on our goal. We're set at 5%, so we're at $4,790 in estimated dividends for the year. When our goal is $102,960. So it still says we're going to make it in 3 years, but adding in the extra margin, I think, is going to get us there. And let me see, when does the market close? We have 1 minute. It's done. So, all right. So that's about it. Market is closed, so no more buys today. I don't like generally buying in the after hours market, although I will put the occasional limit buy in there on something that's going down, like we did with PLTW. So I kind of wanted to show you what I do there. Some people ask me that question. What do you do when the market's offline, but things are still going down? Occasionally I'll put in a limit buy order at what I think is kind of a ridiculous price and let it rip and see if it'll get down to that. So if it does, then great. If not, then it'll expire out and we're done there. All right. So total profit, even with a red day today, so it's gone down pretty significantly today. $168.84. It's gone down, so about 1.34%, which makes it so that we've only made 9.7% in total return on this portfolio in 36 trading days, and I think that's pretty good. So I'm no mathematician, but that looks like a green number to me. So we're going to go with that. And capital gains, we've done. Oh my gosh, the PLTW shares one of them went through. I just heard it chime over here, so let's see what it went. Yeah, it did go through. I'm going to cancel that other one because I don't want another share of it. But actually, you know what? The heck with it. Let's increase position into that thing, and I'm going to say if this thing gets down to $20, which means it would have to drop $1.57. I'd want it. So good for the day. No, we're going to do 24-hour market in here, and I'm going to put good till canceled, and I'm just going to leave it in here and just let it go. And I'll just do extended hours and let it rip, tonight. So I'm going to say good until 6 p.m. Mountain Time today, and extended hours. So in the next 4 hours, if it goes down to $20, it'll trigger a buy. I'm going to put that in there just so you can see what that looks like, because I do this quite often when I've got shares that are dropping like this. So that BLTW share did go down. It didn't dramatically reduce our price, although we were at $24.20 and now we're at $24.13. So it did a little bit, 7 cents less on our average price. So doing pretty good on that. All right, so back to Snowball Analytics. Let's look at one more thing here, and that's our holdings. I'm going to look at the total return here on these. So Chippy, as you can see, total profit 20% out of control, high, almost $500 that I made on Chippy since we started this thing, if you count in share price. So doing amazing. And then Blocks is 18%, NBII, everything's doing great, other than, let's go down here. So these are the new ones, so we can't really count those in because we just bought those, and we haven't had solid trading days on those. And then let's do, I can't see all my holdings in here. So PLTW, absolute stinker down here, down at the bottom, minus 8.7%. Whether or not that's going to continue or not, I am not sure. So whether or not Roundhill, it's not even Roundhill's deal, right? So it's freaking Palantir, so PLTW or PLTR. Let's go look at this. It's dropping. It's a leveraged fund. So since we started buying this thing, it's up very slightly, but for the most part, this thing's not been doing well on most days. So since we started this, so every single day when it's down, we're getting 1.2 x on the down, and on days that it's up, which has not been very often since we started this. Since that's happened, we get 1.2 leverage on the way up, and the leverage on the way up is not obviously enough to offset the down. So we are not doing well with PLTW, but all the rest of it offsets it. So of course, Google, which are the shares I got from Robinhood, we're not going to count those in. The rest of these we don't count in because we haven't even really started dollar cost averaging into these, and that's just based on the purchase price, what I purchased them at. So they're a little bit down, but not too severe. I'm not worried about any of those. But everything else, if you look at this, we are in the green. So I think we're doing just fine with the total return. Let's go back to that holdings thing. I want to show you how many shares I've got. So in 36 trading days, I bought 460 shares in here. So somebody asked me, I made the comment the other day where I have tens of thousands of shares. In fact, in my main portfolio, it's hundreds of thousands of shares. And they're like, how in the world did you get hundreds of thousands of shares? Well, I just showed you in 36 trading days, I bought 460 shares, being very conservative here. So, these numbers are going to stack, and they're going to stack fast, and we're going to have, hundreds and hundreds, and obviously we already got hundreds of shares, but we're going to have thousands of shares in this thing before we're done. And so lots and lots of shares. Our dividend yield right now, blended between what we own in the weeklies and monthlies, is about 34.71%, which I think is pretty great. So pretty fantastic overall how it's been performing. And then let's go over here real quick. One last thing. Let's go to the dashboard, and I'm going to show you where we're at. So this was last month on April. We did $203. First month we didn't do hardly anything because we started on the 26th. We did like $6.68, in here on not March 26th. So this is March of 26th. So the March of this year we did just a few bucks here, $203, and then already here we're at $84. And it's going to massively exceed what we did last month. So the $368 that it's estimating we're going to get for this month, we're going to blow that out of the water by the end of the month. So we're going to see a massive increase of the number of dividends that this is going to pay out over the next few months. But these graphs in here in Snowball, fantastic. I love looking in here. It almost gamifies this whole thing for me. It gets me really excited. And as you can see here, we can come in here and break out these funds, see how they're broken out. Obviously, the Google one is being goofy. That's fine. Everything else, if you look at it by funds and other, of course, would be the Walmart one and then the two JP Morgan ones. Then the information technology is the Microsoft share that I bought, partial share that they gave me. Other than that, all these are in here. And even with the cash of having, $1,363.90 in margin, I'm still up significantly in this portfolio. So we're going to add more margin tomorrow, and we're gonna see if we can speed this process up significantly. And I'm going to do this video. Wow, plenty of time. We're going to do it in the morning, right after I only have one meeting tomorrow, and then we're going to get into it and we're going to invest some money. All right. So, with that, happy investing, everybody, and thanks for sticking with me. And I will see you all tomorrow.